Forest Service has provided a web application with map information about the Cold July project, and the purpose is to provide some background prior to the field trip on June 17th. There will be hard copy maps that will be distributed at the first stop, but this interactive version will give you a little overview, and some of the methods used with this tool make it a little bit easier to visualize some of the differences between the two projects. It's been 10 years, hard to believe, but 10 years since we had our first field trip to Lost Creek, Boulder Creek as a coalition, and one of our tour stops, or two of them, were up in this portion of the Cold July project area. Let's begin within this 27,000 acre polygon. I think it's a fair question to ask, what were the original treatments proposed within Lost Creek, Boulder Creek? And the proposed action is displayed on the screen now, and this is roughly 7,200 acres, and the legend key on the right shows you the color shading for three different treatment categories within this proposed action theme on the map: a free thin biomass, and a patch cut. I think an important message here with this change in the map, this is a display of treatment units where there was good progress. Over on the right in the legend, it's called Lost Creek, Boulder Creek Realized. There are 3,400 acres represented on the screen, 4 treatment categories. And I think the important point here to recognize is that over 2,700 acres were under contract, and an additional 680 acres were prepped, and we're getting close to being ready to go into a contract. The next phase, as we all know, was a court order that vacated the record of decision. As a result of that decision, all work stopped. I think it is important to acknowledge that there were some treatment units that were completed, and they were completed following the proposed action and those treatments were developed based on PFC recommendations. But let me use a little tool here, this slider, to show you what has taken place and what is going to be carried over to the Cold July project. So the polygons that are remaining as I slide this little bar across from right to left, those are the ones that were not treated, but take a good look at those that disappear as I move the slider. So those were treatments that were executed, they were under contract. The ones that are remaining are treatments that were, again, developed based on PFC recommendations. They are in the hopper, and they are carried over into the Cold July project in order to be implemented. And now for the final part of the overview and the preparation for the field trip. I think from the meeting notes from May, it was clear that the coalition wanted to visit some sites where there were differences, perhaps additional treatment units that were not in the proposed action from Lost Creek, Boulder Creek, as well as specific examples of shelterwood and patch cut treatment units. So on the screen, I've added back in the Lost Creek, Boulder Creek proposed action treatment units with the color shading for those treatment units. This time I'm using the slider bar to show underneath the treatment units in Cold July that were not previously under contract, nor were they prepped to become under contract. And you can see that the dominant treatment categories for these treatment units are patch cut and shelterwood. I believe most of the patch cut Polygon treatment units are in management prescription class 5.2, and it looks to me like the shelter would tend to be in prescription class 5.1, which you may remember was those treatment or those management prescription classes were a bone of contention and the challenge to the record of decision. In any event, you can also detect that some of these treatment units are new. Not only were they not under contract or prepped, they were also not in the proposed action. And as I move this back and forth, you can pick up some of the larger ones that are in view. So I think there'll be ample opportunity on the field trip to see some examples, have a good discussion, and I hope this background information helps. And I appreciate the Forest Service putting together this web application as a way to prep.